Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Yep, Charlamagne the God, Angela Yee, DJ Envy. I don't know where the hell Envy went, actually. Where did Envy go, Yee?
He's got his car show, Carcella, happening, so he's
That's not till the weekend.
I know, but I guess he's loading cars up and doing all kinds of, Envy.
Oh, got you.
But Eboni K. Williams is here.
The homie, family.
We're celebrating with some Black Girl Magic wine, okay?
Yes. We offered Char some. Char didn't want any.
Nah, I can't right now.
Okay. He said that real serious.
But congratulations. How does it feel to be the first Black woman on the Real Housewives of New York? How has the experience
Exhausting.
been? I saw you taking social media breaks and everything.
Cheers, Miss G. Cheers, fam. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. It feels very good to be with my family today.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that. I feel more appreciative to be in this room with y'all today than I probably ever have.
Wow.
To be candid.
Mm-hmm.
So it's mentally and emotionally exhausting.
It is, but I mean, don't cry for me, Argentina, right? Like, I knew it would be, obviously. This 13 years of not having any Black lens, no lens of color to speak of, which is crazy because New York is 55% Black and Latina.
Right.
Like, that's crazy.
It's not representative of New York,
Not at all. And not even just only white women, y'all. They are a particular kind of white women.
Except for Leah.
Except for Leah, of course, who
Leah.
who is new to the franchise as well, right? She's only been on one season. But the veteran castmates, just Upper East Side, a very sheltered experience. So it's been an experience and an adventure.
Right. I saw you had to take a break from social media. So I got to ask you, where are the fans of the show? Because I also imagine they wanted you to bring in a different audience, but there's an existing audience there. So what has that experience been like for you, and why did you take that break?
So I took the break because obviously when we sign up to be in these spaces in public, there is going to be an invitation for commentary and feedback. I fully get it. I'm not new to this. It goes all the way back to my days in cable news, right? But abuse is something else, right? And so I don't think that we have to expose ourselves to vitriol that becomes abuse. And some of that is out there in this particular RHONY fandom. And then there's also such fans that show me such love and love on the franchise and love this new direction, to your point, Yee, right? I think this is a very transitional season. I think Bravo recognized, a little late in the game, but nonetheless have finally recognized the show couldn't go on like that. It couldn't just be this extremely narrow, disproportionate representation of New York. And time was for something different. And some fans are going to love it. They love it, y'all. They stop me on the street of all colors, by the way. This is not an exclusively Black thing. Black women, LGBTQ plus communities, just any kind of marginalized group, including professionally working white women that are just happy to see a woman on this show that has a fucking job, in a real way. That goes to work and is getting this bag on her own accord. So it's been a lot of love.
And the most educated one?
Yeah, and it's just true. It's just true, right? And it wouldn't have even come up. Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up because, it's like, okay, in context, what does that mean? It only came up, Angela, because my castmate Luann was making a fucked up argument correlating one's ability to use certain sexually free terminology with being educated.
Right.
And my point is, I have a terminal degree, it's undisputed, and I say whatever I want. So we're not about to do that. We're not about to shame sexually free women on the basis of education. In my Yanla voice, not on my watch.
You know what's so interesting? I love what you said about social media, because I always say we're all in emotionally abusive relationships with social media.
Yeah.
And we don't have to be.
And we don't have to be. That's the thing, right? Like, you can actually just log out of the app, and it's very empowering. And I'm going to do it from time to time now that I've done it. It felt really good, actually.
Yeah, I feel like I'm pretty good at not overusing it. I actually probably don't post enough. But I'm not on it a lot. Like, if I'm working or I have to post something, that's when I go on and I look at what's happening and then I get right back off. Because I feel like we do so much in our real lives, I don't even really have time. And I can imagine just from you filming that show, and then obviously you have your Holding Court podcast, then obviously, Revolt TV.
Yeah, it's a lot. We're all busy.
And you're an attorney, on top of that.
Yeah.
So how do you even have time for yourself nowadays?
I just make it. I'm also making time for dating, which I want to talk to y'all about, because I know that was a rumor report that I want to get some context around why my engagement ended. But I just got to make the time, right? Because I don't practice law anymore, so that's freed up some time. But even still, with all of the platforms and all the different things going on, if I want my life to look a certain way, I have got to curate something differently. So I'm making time. Yeah.
All right, let's clear up the rumor report.
Let's
right?
clear up the rumor
Because
report.
The report was, and we had a whole conversation about you.
That Ebony kid said, "Fuck them kids."
Yeah, and I stand and I stand by it, Charlamagne.
Well, let's
you know.
recap for people
Okay,
who maybe
yes.
didn't
Give
hear
some
it. So
context.
talk about
Yeah.
you had a boyfriend.
I had a fiance.
Yeah, fiance, and during the pandemic, you guys split up
Yes.
because he decided to quarantine with his grown children.
Yes, 2 of which were adults, 20 and 18 at the time, and a 13-year-old.
Okay, so that was the end of it.
Yes, and obviously a whole lot happened before that. But for me, when I say fuck them kids, what I mean is I actually believe, and I so wholeheartedly believe it.
It's really adults. Fuck them adults.
Fuck them adults.
By the way, y'all never getting back together.
I know.
Oh, okay. When you say fuck them kids,
That's,
that's never.
Charlamagne, trust and believe.
The kids probably making all kind of burner accounts too.
The kids were making burner accounts before. Part of the problem. I just don't believe in children running households. I really don't. I believe in the divine order of family structure and leadership. So I believe God, I believe spouse, and then I believe the children. Right? And I think that children need leadership. I think children need guidance. And I think the best gift you could give children is modeling healthy, strong, committed relationships between loving adults. And when I recognized that my partner didn't subscribe to that model, there was no way we could build a family together. So there was no need to continue in the relationship.
I would love to know if that's possible. Like, could you be a man who has kids with a woman, you and that woman don't work out, then you get with another woman and you love that woman more than your kids?
Nobody said that, Charlamagne.
Yeah, that was a whole.
That was a whole.
But that's what it would take,
different
though.
take.
No.
For order, yeah.
It's a different type
No.
of.
Other than that, it's just societal structure.
No. Well, that's what marriage is, right? I mean, I find marriage to be around a structural. That's the only reason I'm seeking it. I can be madly in love with you. I need to marry you.
Right.
I think
I
that's
agree.
right. Like I think love and marriage are not really that related. Actually,
A lot of people are married and don't love each
Show
other.
don't.
Because you put
Show don't.
you make time for and you put first what you absolutely care for the most.
Or who you believe is best positioned to make decisions, Charlamagne. I'm talking about structural family decision making. Where you live, what type of home, what neighborhood, where you go on vacation, where you even go to dinner. I don't believe children are best positioned to be the authority on that decision.
Oh, so that's what it was then.
So let me ask you this: could you have quarantined with him at their house with the kids?
That's a great question, Miss Yee. And you asked that question, Charlamagne, when you guys had the conversation on Rumor Report. And that's why I wanted to come here with my friends and family and revisit it. In a perfect situation, of course, right? That would be the ideal situation. What also, unfortunately, was at play with my relationship was my then fiance had not curated a healthy enough environment in that home that he shared with those kids to be able to invite me in an adult position there.
He should have let them know this is my new wife.
That
This
part.
is who I love.
That
I need y'all to
part.
respect her.
This is who I trust.
This is who I trust.
To
Yeah,
make
yeah,
decisions
yeah, yeah,
alongside
yeah,
me
yeah.
as my equal that is also in best interest of you. And if you have a woman that you don't think is making choices in best interest of your children as well, you've picked the wrong woman.
Yeah.
Right? So that was so it was a lot more than just the headline, the clickbait headline that was reported. But I respect it, and it was cute and
It was
funny.
an interesting conversation.
But
I'm
it's a
sure
really good
A lot of
conversation.
people could relate to at that time.
It's actually
Yeah.
it's actually a better conversation
Yeah.
because he would have to set that environment. And then if I was you, I'd be like, well, what am I to you? What are you telling them about me?
What are you showing them about and me and women in position? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like what kind of husbands are you setting these young men up to? I don't blame those kids. Fuck those kids with the love and affection, right? Those kids are kids.
Now, was this a white guy or a black guy?
He was a Jewish guy.
Jewish,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And culturally, is that part of it? Probably. But I also have found, this is my dating experience, that it's also an affluence thing. I think when you start dealing with people of all colors with more resources and more affluence, these children become disproportionately empowered. And that's just something I've noticed because I'm actively dating now. I've hired a matchmaker. I'm going on dates.
Yes.
I'm in these streets. And it's really amazing and it's fun. But I'm now having those conversations. This one we're having about order, like day 2 or 3. Who do you feel like you should be making decisions with when it comes to family structure? That's really, and I didn't know to even ask that before my recent relationship. So I'm grateful for it.
And those kids were grown, right? How old were the kids again?
19.
2018, and there was a 13.
Now the 13-year-old,
Yeah, he's
I
a
can understand
kid.
having to listen, but the 20 and 19-year-old probably like, no, Dad, that ain't mama. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, but it was never about being their mama. Trust me, I didn't want to be their mama. honey.
But I'm
No,
saying,
no, no.
I can see him pushing back is what I'm saying. Even if he tried to establish order, I could see them
Right. Well, the
pushing
issue,
back.
I think, was they should have listened to their father. Right? It's not
their
about
father
listening
wasn't
to
laying down the
me.
law.
Right. They needed to be revering in his authority was their father. Fuck me. Who am I? I totally concede that. I'm just a random outsider to them, and I respect it. It's listening to your father and his adjudication of what the order looks like in the home.
Now, let me ask you this. What was it like actually being with him culturally? Because we watch you on Real Housewives of New
Right,
York, and there's a
right.
lot of education going on. With him, did you have that experience? Because some people would say dating, and when you're black, dating somebody outside of your race, it's difficult to have certain conversations and people having
Yeah.
certain understandings.
Yeah and no, right? Because a couple things my life has taught me is, sadly, to me it's sad, not every black person has the cultural depth and
That's real.
consciousness, right? That those of us in this conversation have. So sometimes I found myself doing that, educating regardless. And then not every white person is as deficient as some of my castmates on RHONY.
Okay.
So they're not starting from the most ignorant of place. But I'm a lot culturally for anybody, frankly, unless you are also a scholar of black studies. I mean, it's just, Charlamagne and I talk about this offline all the time. It's going to be a lot with me anyway. So, yeah.
I said that last week. I'm like, that's Eboni. Like,
Yeah.
that's who she is. If you have a conversation with Eboni, that's her all the time. That's not
all
performative.
the time. All the
Now, since you
time.
brought that up,
Yes.
let's talk about Bershan, who was a guest,
Yes,
right? She was
yes.
Ramona's friend, was it?
Yes, she was brought on the show as Ramona's friend.
Right, and you guys had the dinner, the
Because you've seen the
drinks.
episode.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you seen it, Char? The
No,
recent
I haven't
one?
seen it, no.
Okay, you'll see it. Yeah, it airs tonight, actually.
Okay, so you guys had a conversation there, and then she was saying, "Well, all women, we're all the same," and you didn't seem to like that conversation at all. So, what were your thoughts on Bershan? Because I know you felt excited, like, okay, finally,
Yeah,
let's
right?
add a little color into the mix.
And more, not only that, I'd actually interviewed Bershan early in my journalism career, back when Bershan was a star on the OWN Network's Love in the City.
Right.
So I knew of Bershan Shaw. I knew of her wonderful, empowering story of beating cancer not once but twice. Stage 4, she had 30, 60 days or something crazy to live. So, I had like a reverence for this woman and her story. So I was very excited to meet Bershan. I was very excited to invite her to my first event as a housewife because, they make you,
In Harlem.
invite in Harlem. Shout out to B Squared, 119th. Let's go. And I was excited. And listen, I want to just say this. Bershan is her own strong, beautiful black woman. She doesn't got to see it the way I see it. She won't have to do it the way I do it. Obviously, in the episode, it becomes very clear that we see this dynamic differently, and it takes all kinds. I by no means think I'm singular in my approach to what I think is in the best interest of what I call truth and reconciliation between our races. I like to go dark to get to the light. Some people don't want to go to the dark to get to the light. Some people feel like that's just too much trauma, or it's too heavy, or they're scared we can't come back to the light from the dark. So in this way, I'm actually quite optimistic. But that's what you'll see on the episode. And I think actually, Angela, now that I'm looking back at these episodes in real time, I'm glad it happened that way. I'm glad Bershan and I did not represent the kind of same experience,
right.
yes, and lens of black womanhood, because I think that shows the truth of black women and black people, which is we're complicated, and we are nuanced, and we each are entitled to our own independent experiences. So she, really felt that she wanted to lean into the similarities of herself and the women, and I wanted to start with the distinctions to get to the similarities.
Right. So, okay.
Yeah.
And what's interesting to me is your relationship with Ramona. That's one of the most interesting things, right? Because she's friends with Bershan. She's friends with, I guess, you. I don't know if you would use that word.
Getting to know each other.
Okay.
Yeah, friendly.
But there was a point where she was posting pictures like, I got
Yes.
black friends.
Yeah, it's funny how people like to do that. At that time, a little naive ass was like, sure, okay. and I just thought it was a cute picture. So aesthetically, I was into it. But, I'm very y'all have known me for almost 6 years now. From the first time I've met y'all, what I don't do is pretend to know people I don't know. I like to be very organic and getting to know people and letting them get to know me. So I think Ramona and I are still to this day getting to know each other as
Okay.
women.
What was the most stressful episode for you so far?
The one airing tonight, the one you watched recently, particularly the back half of it.
Okay.
That conversation at Ramona's house, one-on-one, it was probably the one and only time I almost stopped filming. Like, I was
Wow.
like, you know, and not in a hyperbole dramatic way. I'm really not one for drama, which would beg the question why I would do this show, but we'll get to that in a minute. Excuse me. In a way that made me say, okay, everybody. And when I say everybody, production, network, everybody involved. This was a noble effort. I think everybody came with good intention. I think we might have made a huge mistake. It was that kind of come to Jesus. I mean, we literally had an emergency conference call, super late night with West Coast, East Coast. Yeah, because at some point, this becomes irreparable harm. Spiritually, emotionally, mentally. And I just don't need to be on TV that bad.
So the production company is supportive, though, of...
Oh, extremely. They've been extremely supportive. And not just like on my side, per se, but productive and supportive of solution.
I was going to ask you, what is the best way to deal with white fragility while keeping your mental and emotional peace?
Brilliant question, brother. I realized what I had to do to deal with it, and I encourage everybody listening to this conversation that deals with any aspect of white fragility to adopt this model. I didn't adopt it till very late in the filming process, and I wish I had done it sooner. It's a very difficult thing. The answer is you have to literally divorce yourself from any preoccupation whatsoever with white comfort. You have to actually decide you do not care whatsoever about white people's comfort.
Love it.
And once you decide that, and it's not an easy, I can say it now because I've processed almost a year of this shit. But at first it was very difficult. I found myself cringing, right? Like, and it's because I'm having a vicarious reaction to the white uncomfortability. And once I realized that's not on me,
Right.
that's not on me.
That's right.
And it's not on anybody that looks like us to be responsible for their uncomfortability, their willful ignorance to our experience in this nation and in this world. So once I actually said, I'm actually going to make a conscious decision to not give a fuck about white people's comfort, I'm able to handle the fragility.
We think making them comfortable will make our lives comfortable, but making white people comfortable has gotten us nowhere.
It's literally never worked for us.
Never.
No, and that I will say has been one of the parts of this, y'all, that I didn't anticipate. I expected white uncomfortability. I did not expect the number of black folk to be so uncomfortable by my presence on the show.
You know, what do you think about this? Because I saw Leah discussing... You were talking about politics, right, with Ramona.
Yeah. Well, and I was.
And she kind of didn't feel like it.
Yes. Oh,
right.
She definitely didn't feel like it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what are your thoughts on a certain time? She just wanted to have a good time and not have that discussion right then. Some people really don't like talking about politics and don't care that much. Like, to not even know who the president is.
Sure. Two things. Number one, that didn't apply to Ramona because we know Ramona's at Mar-a-Lago every day. So you don't not care about politics. So we know that doesn't apply to her. And even if it did, though, because you're right, Angela, a lot of people don't give a fuck about politics. I actually would push back on the fact that I was trying to have a conversation with Ramona about politics. I actually wasn't. I was really trying to have a conversation with Ramona about the advancement of women's rights. That's really what I was talking about because I made it very clear. Obviously, I knew Ramona and I did not vote for the same person on that ballot. Right. I don't give a shit. My mama voted for Trump the first time. That is not something that I'm hostile to. What I'm trying to decide.
Not the second time.
The hell no, not the second time. She was really mad as hell, but Gloria be on one anyway. What I was trying to get to in that conversation with Ramona Yee is an understanding of this woman's value system, right? Because again, going back to friends, I can't be friends with someone unless I know we have basic fundamental shared values. Until I'm confident, not that we have the same position on taxation, not that we have the same position on the Iran deal. I don't give a fuck about that. That's politics, right? That we have the same position on the basic value of human worth, of women's equality in society, of the full liberation of black people in this nation. Once I get clear on pretty much those two things, I can build a relationship with anybody. Right. And so my line of questioning when I walked into this woman's house, still getting to know her, was to say, fuck the partisanship, fuck the politics. How about we, in this moment as women, and you as a mother to a daughter, can we kind of just celebrate the fact that a woman in this country has done something that no other woman in American politics has ever done? And I'm not even fucking with y'all. Had it been Sarah Palin, As much as I don't have anything politically in common with Sarah Palin, there would have been a part of me that celebrated, good for this bitch, you know,
you gotta applaud
because
it.
not for nothing, not for nothing, because no one had ever done it before.
That's right.
And very few have even been given the opportunity to. And when she couldn't meet me there, Angela,
Right.
that was a flag that says this is not actually about. That's what I said when I said she's gaslighting me. You're trying to make a human interest issue about politics to avoid it. And somebody put out a comment that was really dope, and they said Eboni is not even talking about politics because race is not politics, and this is a fucked up conflation that's going on in our society now, y'all, where people will act like to discuss blackness or to discuss women or to discuss LGBTQ plus rights, basic human rights is to be political. It is not.
That's right.
We had a president for 4 years that made those issues political.
That's right.
And I rebuke it in the name of Jesus.
I want to know more about these black people who were upset with you and wanted you to make these white people comfortable.
Yeah, they're very upset, Charlamagne.
You need some more wine?
Yes, ma'am.
What was the conversation? What were they saying to you? Like, don't you talk too loud around Massa now, Eboni. What was they saying?
Taylor, get your friend.
What was
the
they
fuck is wrong with
saying?
him?
Why are you making all that noise on that plantation, Eboni?
Essentially, you know, they were nice enough to bring your black ass on the show. Just be happy to be there.
Lord
Why
have
are you?
mercy.
No, but that's really how they feel. And you've ruined my good time. And this is what. What? Go ahead.
No,
but that's what they say.
I was just reacting.
Yeah. No. They say like, you know, you've ruined my good time, Eboni. We don't watch this show for anything but white people's foolishness, and we enjoy this white people's foolishness. And I'm a fan, y'all. I watched RHONY for 12 years straight. It's a great, entertaining show.
Better than me.
Right. I know. And most black people I know now had never watched it before. But first of all, I'm a hell of a good time. So that's number one. If you watch the whole episode, there's
Right.
tons of that too. But people want to harp on the blackness of it all. But the black pushback I'm getting, Char, are black people feeling like I am making them cringe, I am making them uncomfortable, and I am messing up their good, entertaining time. And this is what I've realized after self-reflection and being poured into by greats like Teslin Figaro,
That's right.
the good brother David Johns, Eugene Scott, just so many people. They're like, Eb, you know what you're doing is you're holding up a mirror to some of our kinfolk that let this bullshit, microaggression, white supremacy, casual or aggressive racism pass them by every day. And they don't say shit. And so when they see you saying shit, it's a reflection of what they're not doing in their daily life. And they're feeling attacked. They're feeling under siege by this example of you stepping into your power in a way that they themselves might not feel empowered to do so.
Do you think these women are really unaware of certain things like that can be triggering, like saying the help?
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Now I heard that and right away I was like, oh no, she didn't. And you felt the same way. Do you think that they
I don't
really?
think she knew.
No,
I don't.
she
And
didn't
none
know.
of the other women did either.
No, and I will say about the help comment, just to case in point, I'm really not trying to cancel these bitches like that. I didn't even think it was racial, the help, because she
Right.
actually was talking to a white woman. That's just disrespectful on a basic human level.
That's right.
Talk about some. I
That's
get
right.
my help confused.
Yeah,
all the-
Michelle is a whole
As it-
person. I talked to Michelle over the weekend. She's great. Don't call this woman to help. She lives for more than to just pour your fucking Pinot Grigio. Although you do a great job of this black girl magic sparkling wine pour.
And then the other issue, right,
excellent.
in that same episode was this angry black woman trope that you had to discuss. And that I feel like conversation took a lot to break through.
Yeah.
For even people to understand that. And it's true. Like Leah can get upset. She can call everybody a hoe.
Literally.
She can storm out of the house. She can scream at everyone. And they don't look at it the same as she's angry as they look at you for raising your voice a little in a passionate conversation.
Passionate conversation. And that's because we know, right? Black women, women of color in general, we're not afforded a full range of human experience. So what do? We shut it down when they start saying something we don't want to hear, and we say they're angry. And what happens most of the time in real life is it's an effective silencing tool. Either that or they start crying, which is the white fragility at play. And when Ramona started that shit, oh my God, stop, ma'am.
Right.
You were literally standing up 2 seconds ago screaming on a cup of the white tears. Those are very dangerous, by the way. Very dangerous. They actually get people killed.
That's right.
And you're doing all of this and you're doing the most, and then I simply say something that you don't want to hear, and now it's the waterworks and the shenanigans. And I had to call a thing a thing. Miss me, your white fragility is killing me. She had never heard the term white fragility.
Right. And then she was really upset.
Look, I'm not a
about it.
gymnast.
You're so ridiculous. So she looked it up, And I will say they are going to Google, and that's what they should be doing.
That's good. You don't have to explain it all.
can't
And
do
then
everything.
even just the hypocrisy of, well, Leah gets to pass, her grandmother is dying.
Yeah.
And you're like, duh, my grandmother.
Is also dying.
Yeah.
And that, Angela, actually was more painful to me on a personal level than most anything else that had happened up until that point, because that, again, reinforces a narrative that says black people don't get to grieve.
It's dehumanizing.
It's dehumanizing. It goes back to the slave blocks when they're selling us from our husbands, our babies, and our parents. And not only are they doing that, if we had the audacity to cry about it, you got beat. Because that's an indication of our humanity, and decent Christians don't enslave other humans. So they have to divorce us from our humanity. And I can't unknow what I know. And I think that's the biggest challenge of me on the show, y'all, is I've studied this at a deep level. This is my life's work. It's been in me since I was a kid. I'll never, ever apologize for what I do know. It's my privilege to know what I know and to share it. And if you're going to put me on a global platform like Housewives, you're going to get this black excellence. You're going to get it.
I want to go back to the angry black woman trope, because that goes back to making white people comfortable too, right? Like, and we both go to therapy a lot.
Yes.
The therapist tells you feel your feels. So if you are angry about something, if you are upset about something, if you are passionate about something, you should be able to express that.
You totally
Period.
should be, including anger, by the way. So that's not to say that black women don't get angry. What was tripping me out was like, y'all haven't even seen me angry yet.
Right.
Even a little bit. Not even.
It was not
even
bad at all.
close,
I ain't knocked
actually.
our buck yet. I'm just raising my voice a little.
Listen.
And then she apologized, but then wanted you to apologize also.
To
That was
to
insane.
Charlamagne's point, she wanted me to apologize for having a human reaction. And I had to explain that real slow so she could understand. What I can't do is apologize for having a human reaction to your ridiculousness. And it's just a struggle. But I will say, at some point this season, I think we have a bit of a breakthrough.
Yes, I was going to ask you,
yeah.
do you feel like all this work you done put in did anything?
Yeah. And if it didn't do anything for these particular women on the show, it did something for a lot of people watching. It's very similar to my time at Fox News. Was I changing the people I was in conversation with on camera? Probably not. Really wasn't my goal. It's the people that are changeable that are watching the platform. And I have the DMs to prove it, y'all. People that say, I had never heard of the term microaggression before. I learned more in 2 episodes of RHONY about these issues than I have in all these diversity trainings I'm having at work. Because to see, you got to see it. Sadly, it's like the murder of Brother George Floyd. We knew it was happening.
Yeah.
We talk about it every day.
Absolutely.
But until they see it, y'all, with their own 2 eyes, they don't believe it.
I remember before you joined the show, one of the housewives was saying all lives matter.
That was Ramona.
That was Ramona? Okay. Did you guys have a conversation about that ever, even off camera?
We didn't, because I made a decision, to not bring anything I didn't experience in real time with them to the table. You know what I mean? Because then we would have never got off the ground, period. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to come in. Because a lot of people were also gassing me before the show. Like, go get Ramona's ass. Cancel that bitch. No, I'm not. That's not really my speed. I'm going to engage with her authentically in real time and hold her accountable for what happens in our relationship. And so that's how I approached it.
Have you signed on for another season yet?
So it's not time for that yet, Yee. A lot of decisions have to be made first by the network. I'm gonna keep it 100. They get to make the first decision. Do they want to invite me back for a contract renewal? Then I get to make decisions, right? Am I interested at all? Do the terms work?
Okay.
I wonder, can white fragility be repaired?
If they wanted to. If they wanted to. It's kind of like, and I'm not sure how I feel about the reparation of white supremacy, because part of me thinks we didn't, as people of color, build white supremacy. So how can we eradicate it? But then it's also, I'm really big into Isabel Wilkinson's book, Caste.
Caste. Oh, I love it.
Obsessed,
Great
right?
read.
Obsessed. And she talks about the arbitrary nature of white supremacy, which is it's literally fucking made up. Like it's an artificial positioning.
Social construct. Yep.
So totally socially constructed. So then why can't we just socially deconstruct it? If it was randomly made up, totally arbitrary, it seems to reason we should just arbitrarily be able to destroy it. Just because we decide to as a society.
Right.
And that goes back to people that look like us having an issue with my making these people uncomfortable and my insistence to bring my blackness to this show.
Now, speaking on a personal level, you have a sister potentially out there. So what's the update on that?
I can say without spoiling anything, the story has a really beautiful ending, and it has a complete ending. But you got to watch it.
That's good. I can't.
She in North Carolina?
You got to watch it. You got to watch it. I was shocked. I will say, even though I wanted to pursue this, because as you see in the episode, I had heard, there was always a question mark around who my father was. Mm-hmm. And then there was always a thought that it was this one particular man. This one particular young lady reached out to me on Instagram after thank you, Breakfast Club. She saw me on a Breakfast Club interview. Mm-hmm. And she said, yours is the picture that's been on my granny's mantle for 25 years. And I've always been told you were my big sister, because I was the oldest in this possible family. And so she reached out, and I just wasn't ready. And I talked to my therapist about it, and she said, well, don't pursue some shit don't ask questions you're not ready for the answer to. Right? So I intentionally didn't pursue it until I felt spiritually ready. And this was just with COVID and people dying left and right and knowing tomorrow's truly not promised. Like, we know that, but COVID to me made that actualized differently. I said, let me try to find this man and these sisters before I can't. And so I go on the journey, and I surprised myself. It was very shocking.
So it's documented on the show.
It's all documented. You don't miss a minute of it.
Now, what if she's a Zeta?
Taylor, this is your fault. This is Taylor's your fault. You know what? If she was a Zeta, Charlamagne, I would be be so happy with my blue and white sister.
There you go.
There you go.
And
don't matter.
pretty girl, finer woman. It's all good. Your mom is a Zeta? Child. Okay. Shout out to Taylor's mama.
Now let's flash back to this matchmaking.
Okay. Yes.
So
it's very exciting.
Talk to me about this matchmaker and the dates that you've been going on.
It's very exciting, I'll have to show you the profiles when we wrap this interview. So, number one, going back to what I said earlier, if you want something different, you got to do something different. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not a bad-looking woman. I'm a pretty dope woman. Thank you.
Powerful.
Pretty powerful. Get it on Amazon now. So I definitely never thought that I would be the type to literally spend money, invest in this process of finding love and commitment. And yet here I am. Because I'm at a place in my life, y'all, I want family. I really do. And I know it's not going to bum rush me.
Right.
I'm not the most social person. So I know the man that I need to partner with is not going to knock on my door. So I hired a matchmaker. I interviewed 3. Like, this is real serious business. Mm-hmm. I didn't know about this world until recently. I interviewed 3 matchmakers like you would interview a therapist or a primary care physician. I found one that was really comfortable to me. She curated. We had lots of conversations. What am I looking for? What can I offer? Because that's another question a lot of people don't ask themselves. We're real clear on what we want. What can you offer someone?
Well, what do you offer, Ebony? I know, but I want to know what you would say.
No, I'm going to tell you, and some of this might surprise you, even as well as we know each other. One of the things that I'm most proud of that I offer to a husband, and this is where finding a man that values these things is important, because we know everybody doesn't value the same things. If coming home to a sanctuary is important to you, if coming home to a curated home where you are king of your castle, where it looks good, it smells good, there's a hot meal, you don't have to worry about where your clothes are, they're clean, they're hanging up, everything's organized, your kids are clean, they've done their homework, those things, I'm the woman for you. I really believe a woman's role is to curate a safe, very comfortable, loving home.
So I cater to you by Destiny's Child. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I could be. I don't think a man can make a house a home.
Yeah, I believe that's a woman's role. That said, I'm not paying no mortgage. No, I'm not paying no mortgage. I'm dead ass.
Not even half?
Not even $5. Not even $5 fucking dollars.
What about bills? You paying some bills?
Not even 5.
What about
I'm not ever gonna laugh about that.
I'm dead. Ebony, I'm dead.
I'm dead ass. What you do get is this. You do not get that. I'll pay a Spectrum bill. I'll pay a cable bill.
You get FiOS now.
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, but I'm not. If I have to pay for the roof over my head and my children's head, I might as well live with you.
I think
that's how I feel.
I think a man's job is to protect and provide.
Oh well, what you doing after the show?
As long as I can come home to a sanctuary.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So if you were looking for a wife, let me know. But yeah.
I like the fact that you said that, because you are an independent woman. You got your own money.
Absolutely.
You don't need no man for nothing.
No.
But that's what.
But if I'm going to be your wife, right, and you're gonna be my husband, Be my husband.
Word.
Everybody has a different standard. I have tons of girlfriends at various income levels. They pay up to half. Some pay 70% of their mortgage.
Hell, I wouldn't know. And now half is fine with me. I'm not doing 70%.
And I don't judge it.
I do half.
There's a lie. There's a lie. And I don't judge it at all. I think it works for their marriage. And let's be clear. What I know from a failed marriage, you got to do what works for your marriage, not anybody else's, right? So I love it. You like it? I love it. But for me, protecting and providing is paramount. I have to have a husband that I feel does both in spades. And then what I do is I nurture, I affirm, and
what if he has a small penis?
Okay, so we actually talk about this on this episode of RHONY. I see what you did there, Yee. I believe, candidly, there is such a thing of too small, but I'm not a size queen per se.
Right.
Like,
so it could be on the smallest spectrum, but it can't be.
There's
like
a minimum threshold, right? And if you can't get to here, it's a no for me, dog.
Okay.
What if I'm paying all the bills?
Oh, I don't care. No, this is where having my own money is helpful, right? I'm not a thirsty bitch, because if you a broke, thirsty bitch, you might have to deal with the worst case scenario.
What if you didn't want to have sex until marriage and you didn't know until then?
Oh, I wouldn't do that either. I think sex is so important to marriage. I mean, ask a question, I'm going to answer.
No, but
I think
true.
sex
Some
is...
guys, what if a guy, because listen, there's women who are like, I'm not having sex until we're married.
I wouldn't be able to marry that man. I'm just telling you, because there's no way I'm going to... First of all, I've already had my starter marriage, right? So this narrative of like, let's try it, I'm done with that. There's one way you're leaving the marriage. It's in a box. It's in a box, okay?
What's that mean? Hold on.
She's about to kill someone.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what?
Death, Charlamagne, death. You leave the marriage by dying.
But you said you had to start a marriage.
Right. So I've done that. This next one,
You
I'm
killed
saying.
him? What? I'm confused.
See, why you starting shit? He's alive and well.
Okay.
I forgot who I was talking to. Just that quick. It's been a long time since I've been here. And now I remember where I am. Okay. Oh, my God. He's alive and well with his new wife that he married immediately after our divorce.
Got you.
Hi, him. No, I did not kill him. I'm saying that I'm not divorcing again.
Right.
Got you.
That's what I'm saying. So the only way out of this next one is me or you die.
Till death do us part.
Till death do us
Got
part.
you.
So with that said, I'm not going to set myself up for failure is what I'm trying to say to Yee's question. So I would never say I do forever to a man that I don't already know that we are sexually compatible and you got to keep having sex. That's so important. Part of why my first marriage failed, we stopped having sex.
Right.
Completely.
That happens to a lot of people in relationships.
Yeah. You got to keep having sex. If you're mad, if you're sad, if you're tired.
But he got married right after you guys got divorced. Does that mean he was cheating?
My mom thinks so.
Right. Because
I would have to lean with mom.
women
mom
feel
thinks
like
so.
if he's not having sex with me, he's having sex with somebody.
Possibly. I mean, I'm not so vain or egotistical that I would put it past.
A lot of people have gotten cheated on that you're like, damn, how did that
happen? Yeah,
But the thing is that women, I feel like we could be in that relationship until it ends without having sex and just suffer. But I do feel like.
Yeah, he probably give me, and not that I would ever excuse infidelity because I have a serious problem with it, but this is why I have the position I have now. Keep fucking, no matter what.
Okay.
You got to. You just got to. So
Even
no.
when you don't like the person no more?
Well, then it's time for somebody to go in the box.
Yeah.
I'm just messing.
Then you can represent yourself in court.
Jesus Christ. I mean, listen.
I'm messing with you, Charlamagne.
I think I would tell a man.
She might be crazy. I don't know.
No.
That laugh.
If a man came to me,
God.
I would say
Oh,
it's
that
worth
made
it. I would say it's worth it. I was like, look.
Oh, with bad sex?
No, I'd say Ebony's worth dying over.
Oh,
So take the
Charlamagne, that's
risk.
so sweet.
I would say that.
Thank you. No, I would not kill. I'm a good person. Like, I'm a good partner. I really am.
I feel like you'd be good at hiding the body.
No, I'm saying you're a good partner,
Oh,
but
but Leah, I've had discussions with Leah. If I do need to hide a body, Leah McSweeney is who I'm calling.
Oh, she'd be great at
Yeah,
that.
she'd
I
be
feel like
great
Leah
at that.
done hit somebody.
And be like, what body, right? But no, I'm still from North Carolina. I'm from Charlotte. Like, I'm still like a Southern traditional woman that wants to affirm. I'll tell you this. I'm gonna tell you who I am for. If you are a man that truly wants to be your very best version of yourself, get with me, or a woman like me, because we will make you the best version possible of your own self.
upgrade you. You upgrade him.
Would you put him on the show?
So when I was still with my ex, when I started in my casting process, he was a part of it. Not a big part, But he was a part of it. We
You
did
don't
the
see
Sky.
so many men on the show anyway. At all.
Well, we're all single hosts.
Yeah.
So that they really should just call us the single bitches of New York. But anyway, a couple things. I think that the kind of men that I want and that some of these castmates want are not into this. Mm-hmm. They're not thirsty. They're not trying to hold an apple. Because I don't think this is hot take. I don't think truly
Shit.
How do I?
Just let it
Have
fly.
some more wine, girl.
Let it fly, Ebony.
The kind of man that I value that is concerned with protecting and providing is not concerned with being in front of a camera.
Okay. He don't want to hold the apple.
He don't want to hold an apple. He don't want to be the star. He don't want to be the public. He don't want to be in the page 6. Mm-hmm. He just wants to support.
Probably not for that show.
Probably. I don't really like dating on camera talent, period. That's just me.
Got you.
That's just me. Not in news. Like, I didn't. Because then, not me, but it can be competitive. You know what I'm talking about. You probably. And it doesn't need to be that.
I wonder if men have the versatility that, you possess. Meaning, like, you can be in 3 or 4 different spaces and still effortlessly be Ebony.
Thank you.
I wonder if.
I think some do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think some do. I think it comes down to just being super clear on who you are. Because when you're clear on who you are,
That confidence.
you could be. Yeah, you could be at the Breakfast Club. You could be on RHONY. You could be at the presidential gala. It doesn't matter because you're still you, and you're really trusting of who that is and what that energy looks like. But I think I'm looking for a very reasonable list of qualities.
Have you found anybody good yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Off the Christian Mingle? What is it?
No, she's a matchmaker.
What's
And you know
that?
what? I'm going to tell you what's good about matchmakers. What I think is that it's people who are really serious about relationships too, because they're
that's what it
paying that
is.
money.
They
And
got
usually
skin
the
in the
men pay
game.
more than
Yeah.
the women.
They do.
Yeah,
They
so they're
do.
paying a good amount of money, so they have it, and they're really serious about being in a relationship if they hire a matchmaker.
That's what it is. And that's why it was worth the investment to me, because a lot of women ask me that, like, can't you just get on the Rio or the Bum? No, because a lot of those men are good men, but they are still playing. Because
Yeah,
they
but don't you
can.
get on Tinder and try to...
Right. So a man who's literally put skin in the game, and I mean, just for those inquiring minds, it could be over $100,000 that these men are paying to meet the mother of their children
Wow.
and their wife.
Is
Would
that
you
much?
Yes, it's extremely expensive.
Especially for the men, they pay more.
They pay more.
Yeah.
It was expensive for me. I had to move some money to make the shit happen.
Wow. What is
If
your
I'm being
profile
You should
say?
have had them pay for it on Real Housewives.
Yeah, but see, I don't want. To your point, though,
I would have definitely tried to get that covered.
Yeah, I just want to protect it. You know what
Okay.
I mean? Because I'm real serious. Like,
Yeah.
put it this way: if it was a choice, like what Tinsley did, between picking between the love of your life and getting married and having your fucking family, or being a housewife, I'm having a family. That's not even close to me.
All right, priorities.
Yeah.
Now, what was I going to ask you? I'm drinking and I forgot.
What does your profile say on this site? Like,
Okay.
what do you
and
have listed?
so it's not a site. That's the first thing,
Okay.
Charlamagne. Get that out your head.
Okay.
That's why you're paying the money to not be accessible to everyday
Just
folk.
anybody, right?
So these matchmakers have database, and what they do is I've not seen my profile, but from some of the dates I've gone on, my profile does not even have my name on it.
Really?
No, it's got an E, because they're trying to prevent you from Googling.
Right.
Oh.
And they don't let you have each other's phone numbers at first.
No,
Yeah.
not at first.
So you can't even speak to each other.
No, they don't
But they
want
know, at least at least you're not getting catfish
Right.
because the matchmaker knows who the other person is. They do
Yes.
these extensive interviews.
Yes, background checks, credit scores, DNA samples.
Really?
No, not DNA
No.
samples. But the other stuff, yes. The other stuff, yes. Because of the caliber of clientele they're dealing with, right? So it's got the E, it's got a picture. It's not an airbrush picture. It's just a candid, like what I actually look like. And then she's from North Carolina. She's a huge Tar Heel fan. She loves basketball and football.
She's an AKA. They don't put that?
No,
Okay.
they don't put that.
Does it matter to you? Like, would you prefer to be with a black man or does it not matter at all?
It does matter. I would prefer to be with a black man. I would prefer to be with a black man. Then I would prefer to be with a man of color. And then I absolutely have to be with a man of complete consciousness around the issue. It doesn't work otherwise. I've learned that the hard way, trust me. Inquiring minds will want to know. The man I am currently most interested in is a beautiful, beautiful black man, a very smart, educated black man. No kids, because I do think one of the lessons I learned from my previous engagement, it's much better for a woman like me to be with a man that doesn't come with children to the equation.
So
Younger
fuck them
or older?
kids is in the profile.
Fuck them kids is definitely in the profile. He's 47. So
Okay.
to me,
A
that
little
feels
bit older. Yeah,
no, it feels young.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't dated a man in his 40s in a long time.
Okay.
I think you should get fuck them kids t-shirts. I think that's the merch we missing out here.
Did you hear the Horrible Decisions episode?
I did hit horrible decision.
Yeah,
That's
it was
why
great.
that's
I
why
love
keep
those
repeating
ladies.
it.
Yeah,
Oh, no, I love
shout
Mandy
out to
and Weezy.
Weezy and
Mandy.
Mandy B. I had the time of my life. You should have. They were so funny. They shaded the shit out of me though. You should have seen the first rundown they had constructed for me. It was like so dry and crusty. They were like, "Would you like to talk about what it feels like to be a wife in a house?" I was like, "I'm with the shit."
Oh no, yeah, I told Weezy. I said Ebony's a nigga. Yeah, I did. I did. She's like, we got Ebony coming in today. I'm like,
Yeah,
y'all
I
gonna
was
have
like,
some fun.
who is this for? Yeah, no, fuck this. Let's get to the shits.
Absolutely.
But this was great.
Well, Ebony, we enjoyed having you as always.
Thank you.
You
I
got
love
that
y'all.
walkaway on. I see that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
shout out to
shout to
April
Al.
Walker.
I
I
mean
just think
April.
it's so important
I'm
to
drunk.
uplift these queens. No, you're not. You're so
I
funny.
am.
You are not.
No, I really am because I haven't eaten anything all day today, and we're drinking this wine.
Look at you, Yee. This is just a little breakfast
It's Black
cocktail.
Girl Magic wine, and I haven't even eaten anything.
Shout out to the McBride sister. Shout out to April Walker. I just think she's fabulous.
Nah, I saw Moni Love had on something the other night too at the BET Awards. So
And
I
this is a
actually
new
have
drop.
some too. She did
Yeah.
some stuff for Biggie.
Right.
Yeah, so they sent us. It's amazing. She's actually gonna come up here, so I'm excited for that. But she's really dope.
Yeah,
Dope.
I was like refreshing my screen like this to get this drop. This pink drop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it was
really
hard.
cute.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, make sure y'all tune into Ebony's podcast, Holding
Yes,
Court with
Holding
Dustin
Court
Ross.
with
Hey,
Dustin
Dustin.
Ross. Fine self. Hey baby, we drop every Wednesday new episodes, and we hitting all the big shit. We talking about the Chauvin sentence, my thoughts on that legally and otherwise, and free Britney because that's some bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that real quick. I don't understand conservationships because I always thought that people had to be in those when something mentally wasn't right.
Typically, that's right. What you're referring to legally is incapacitated, right? They are incapable of making decisions for themselves. Court appoints them, and even then, there is some level of voluntarism, and that's what people don't know about conservatorships. The person under it. Under normal circumstances, they're bought into it, and that's what was crazy about what Britney said recently
She
in
didn't
this
even know she
hearing.
could get out of it.
She didn't know.
And she has a court-appointed attorney.
Both of those, that's what we call the issues. You really would have made a brilliant lawyer because those are the two, the issues that turn the case on its head. The fact that this woman wasn't even allowed to get the counsel of her choice. And when you go back to the beginning of this shit, in 2008, when she was put under this conservatorship, she selected a lawyer. And the judge said, oh, I'm not really sure if you're in your right enough mind to select counsel, so we'll appoint one for you. So to me, everything from that point on is poisonous. Everything is rotten from the fact that you didn't get the counsel of your selection.
And then the counsel didn't even tell you.
Did not tell you, Britney's been saying since 2014, according to the New York Times report, I want out. This feels oppressive. How can I work enough to make millions of dollars to keep all these fuckers on payroll, but not be able to take out my IUD?
Right.
To not be able to not
control my
take
own
these
body.
psychotic drugs. This doesn't make sense. Britney said it. Why is your lawyer not filing paperwork to say my client would like to be excused from this conservatorship at this point, Your Honor? Those two failings. Expect a lawsuit. Expect a lawsuit.
What if, I don't know anything about the situation, but what if mentally she's really not well?
Then what would happen? That's a great question, Charlamagne. So what would happen if her lawyer had done their job, in my legal opinion, correctly and filed that motion to get her removed from a conservatorship? The judge is going to do one thing and one thing only. They're going to select an objective psychiatrist to make that evaluation, to sit with Britney, to ask Britney questions, to observe Britney over a period of time, to make a legal finding of her competence. And
Just
then
think
they'll
about
make a
all those
decision.
drugs they've had her on all this time.
Pumped
though,
her
and all the
up,
things they've been doing
numbing
to
her.
If she was competent, it's something like that could really.
This is legal extortion.
Right.
It's nothing more and it's nothing less. This point has become legal, and that's why they don't want the young lady to have no more babies.
Right. To not even be able to choose her own attorney, like that feels.
To not get married, to not have a baby, because y'all don't want anybody interrupting this financial pipeline.
Did you see that movie on Netflix?
Of course.
What was the name of that movie with the woman that was the
You know about the recent one? What was it? No.
where she was taking people's money and she was
That's Rosamund Pike, the old people's money.
And she was
I care a lot.
I care a lot.
I care a lot.
I
Yes,
see that.
it's just
It
like
was-
that movie.
yeah.
I care a lot. That's what they're doing to Britney.
It's very
I
sad.
thought I thought that she didn't have custody of her
kid's almost grown.
Yeah, but I thought Kevin had custody of them for years.
Well, even if
majority custody.
even if that's true, and I think you're right on that. Mm-hmm. But think about it: if I'm Kevin's family lawyer, I'm going to court and I'm using the fact that she's under conservatorship to prove a legal finding of incompetence for her as a parent. So it's all working in tandem.
Right.
It's all working in legal tandem.
She deserves a fair chance to even.
And she deserves a lot of her money back. Mm-hmm. Let me be clear.
She's paying for all of it. She's paying her dad.
She's paying her dad. And then her sister and mother are fighting to get next in line to be paid out.
Well, her sister spoke up in support of her.
Yeah. That's after you've made a legal filing saying that you would like to be next in line to be considered head of the conservatorship.
Right.
Yeah, I just wonder about her mental.
Well, it's easy to find out.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's easy to find out. Let the experts do that. That's
who have no type of bias.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and it's interesting that no one. If this was my sister, and I had a concern, I would want her evaluated every year.
I am your sister.
You are my sister, Yee.
Oh, y'all
but
drunk.
If I was her sister and I was in charge of $60 million.
That was the drunk in the bar. I love you, man. I love you.
You are my sister. But I would get her evaluated every year.
Too, Charlamagne.
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. You should have had some wine too, but we respect your
Absolutely.
solidarity.
That's right.
After September.
No pressure here. All
That's right. All right,
but cheers.
Eboni K. Williams.
Cheers, y'all. Love
you.
y'all.
You know we love you. Appreciate you so much. Make sure you check out our podcast on the Black Effect iHeartRadio Podcast Network. Make sure you check out Real Housewives of New York every Tuesday.
At 9 p.m. only on Bravo.
All right. It's the Breakfast Club.
Working.